One, I forgot how much I hated the traditional financial system and banking system. So here's the quick story of the last 24 hours. So I got this refund on this $14,000. And of course, I wanted to input it in Bitcoin as soon as possible. So the person who called me and told me the refund had come in, I told him to invest it, to go deposit it in my account at Trustmark. And I said Trustmark without thinking because there's just more Trustmark branches than there are Wells Fargo branches. So I thought they can put it in Trustmark. I'll pull it out of Trustmark. What I forgot is that Trustmark, for whatever reason, has disabled my ability to use Plaid, 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 which is the integration that pretty much all financial apps and websites use to integrate with a bank account. So when I went in, I saw the money finally show up this morning. It was deposited yesterday, so it showed up this morning. Takes us a long time because it's the traditional financial system. So the money showed up in Trustmark. Boom! I log into Coinbase. I switch it over to Coinbase Advanced. I click Add Funds to add $14,000, and I see that Trustmark is not one of the options. I'm like, dang it! I forgot that it had gotten unlinked from Plaid. So I tried to add it, it wouldn't add. So I tried to add it manually with a routing number and an account number. And as soon as I do that, it says, oh, we have a custom integration with Plaid, so you can't do that. So I'm like, oh, dang it. Okay, so because it wants you to use the automated integration, it won't let you add it by a account number and routing number unless they don't have a custom integration. But the custom integration with Trustmark is currently disabled for me by Trustmark for reasons I don't know. So anyway, so I switched over and I was like, I'll just see if I can use Strike, Strike, because I don't have virtually any balance over there. And I want to mess around with their bill pay feature and see if I can get it working since since River and Coinbase have not yet rolled out bill pay features, even though I believe both of them are rolling them out later this year. So I rolled over to Strike, and Strike has the same problem with, well, it's not a Strike problem, but because I also couldn't pull the money out that way because Strike behaves the same way that Coinbase does. It wants to use the standard Trustmark integration. That does not work. You try to add it manually by by account number and routing number, and it says you have to use the automated integration by Plaid, which of course is disabled by Trustmark. Okay, so then I go into Trustmark and see if I can move the money to Wells Fargo, which I can't because Trustmark does not give you any way to move the money to Wells Fargo unless you go into the branch and do a wire transfer. Or at least I couldn't figure it out. So then I went into Wells Fargo, backlinked it with Trustmark, and initiated a transfer where it sucked the money from Trustmark to Wells Fargo because I know I can buy Bitcoin with my Wells Fargo account. That's worked even even with Trustmark stopped working. So I initiated a $14,000, withdrawal of funds, and it tells you, hey, when you initiate this, it's, irreversible. So as soon as I click yes, go ahead and do it, it tells me, okay, your irreversible withdrawal has started. The funds will not be there till the next business day, which is the 27th of May, 23rd of May. But because we have a long weekend, the funds don't get there till the 27th of May. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I am absolutely positively not waiting for Tuesday of next week. So, it's like I can't reverse it. I can't stop it. So anyway, so then I go into River, which River generally does a better job of just, everything these days. River actually does allow you to integrate directly with a bank account. So I tried to integrate it with Trustmark using Plaid, and it says the same problem as Coinbase and Strike. But when you try to integrate it manually, it says sure, we'll try to do the manual integration. So the way they do that is they deposit 1 penny in your account, and they deposit it along with a source. Uh, sort of a source account, and then you just have to go into River. It takes a couple hours for that deposit to hit. You have to go into Trustmark, look at the deposit of 1 penny, and then enter the code from that deposit that comes with the deposit over into River and link the accounts. So it took a couple hours for that 1 penny deposit to show up in Trustmark. As soon as it did, I manually linked it to River. I initiated a $14,000 purchase. So now one of those two things is not going to go through. Either River is going to try to pull the funds out of Trustmark, and Trustmark's not going to let it because the initiation has already been triggered by Wells Fargo. to move the funds over to Wells Fargo. And so when River tries to pull the funds, it's going to tell it it can't, or the reverse is going to be true. Even though I've already initiated the purchase on River, it could be that the it goes through on River, and then when Wells Fargo tries to pull the funds from Trustmark, they're going to say nope. River got there first. So one of the two is going to try to get there first, and the funds are either going to be pulled out of Trustmark to River for the $14,000 purchase I already did, which I posted to Facebook, or that or Wells Fargo is going to get there first and pull the funds into Wells Fargo, in which case then I will go buy the Bitcoin from Wells Fargo. So this sort of manic idiocy does not exist in the world of Bitcoin. In the world of Bitcoin, you send Bitcoin to people and it shows up immediately. And there's not these multi-hour, multi-days. It's closed on Memorial Day. There's funds have to settle. I mean, all of this just insane idiocy, stupidity of the traditional financial system completely does not exist in the world of Bitcoin. When I want to send Bitcoin to people, which I do all the time, I pay bills with Bitcoin. I send Bitcoin to people to settle invoices. Most of the payment I do of people, vendors, I do with Bitcoin. And it's great. They send me a Bitcoin invoice, which looks like a Bitcoin address. I paste it in River if it's for business, or I paste it in Coinbase if it's personal. And I just send the Bitcoin and boom, they get it. Like it shows up a few seconds later as pending. 10 minutes later, it's finalized. And it's just this whole insanity is just ridiculous. Anyway, so I had to jump through all those hoops. It took me an hour or two this morning to finally get all of that linked. Hopefully, when all the dust settles, I'll have an extra $14,000 of Bitcoin. If not, I'll jump through even more hoops to get those US dollars converted into Bitcoin as soon as possible. It just reminded me how absolutely insane. I want to move money between two bank accounts that I own and control. And the fastest I can do that, unless I drive to a branch and sit there like an idiot and fill out paperwork with a pen and pencil, if I don't do that, the funds can't get there before Tuesday of next week between two bank accounts that I control at two banks that both have branches within eyesight of each other. I can't move money between them unless I go to the branch and wire transfer it, which costs me 25 bucks. And I got to walk in there and use a piece of paper and a pencil and a pen like an idiot. So, since I didn't want to do that, it says I got to wait till Tuesday. And so I jumped through all these hoops to try to bypass that, but that's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And it's crazy that a deposit I get yesterday doesn't show up till today. Why today? Like, why do I have to wait overnight for my money to become available to me? And why, when I want to move my money between two bank accounts that are both in my name, both of which that I control, that are identical, they're just at two different banks, why do I have to wait for Tuesday of next week to move the money? That's absolutely crazy. Bitcoin has already made all of that obsolete. It's just a matter of everybody catching up so that I get refunds in Bitcoin instead of having to jump through these hoops to convert US dollars into Bitcoin. So the whole legacy financial system is slowly going away and it can't come fast enough. Every time I have to interact with the legacy, traditional, old school financial system, it reminds me how ridiculously antiquated it is. It feels like I'm climbing into a horse and buggy to try to move around instead of the 2026 Tesla Model Y that moves me around. When I'm using Bitcoin, it feels like I'm in my Tesla 2026 Model Y with full self-driving engaged, watching it drive me around. That's what Bitcoin feels like to use. Whenever I have to use the traditional banking system, it feels like I'm climbing in a horse and buggy. It's absolutely insane. So hopefully I'll get this US dollars into Bitcoin one way or the other. Either River's going to go through or Wells Fargo is going to go through and I'm going to pull it out and buy the Bitcoin in from Wells Fargo. One of those two is going to go through and it's either already in Bitcoin or it's going to be in Bitcoin, as fast as conceivably possible. So anyway, have a great day, everyone. And I hope the transition to the new financial system of Bitcoin happens, just as fast as conceivably possible because the old school system's absolutely insane. It's just absolutely insane. Have a great day, everyone.